In today's video, we are going to be making a grungy patriotic banner, and we are using little wood pennants. They are made out of chipboard, and we are also using some archival ink, and we are using Roycycled tissue paper, and the color we are using is called red ticking. The first thing we did is painted the pennants with a white enamel paint, and I did 2 coats of paint. The first coat was to seal, and the second coat was to give a white top coat for when I put my decoupage paper over it. I got these particular pennants from Doris. It's a company that is no longer in business, but I will put a link in the comments to where you can get them on Amazon. The paper I'm using is a Roycycled tissue paper. It is 20 inches by 30 inches, and it is called red ticking. It has a gray background and red stripes. I'm going to cut these pennants out, giving a bunch of extra space just for good measure. And each pennant I am going to line up at the same spot, so when I am done with my whole banner, they all look the same. Excited about this one. So Flag Day is coming up, 4th of July is coming up. What else do we have? We just had Memorial Day, but then we have Veterans Day. We have all sorts of holidays where it's suitable to put out your primitive banner. The other reality is there's a bunch of us who just love primitive stuff, so I would keep this up all year. Now it's time to attach my decoupage paper. So I am using Wise Owl varnish. I'm going to put a liberal amount of varnish on my pennant, and then make sure I'm using the white side, and then I'm going to attach my paper. I like to use a wad of saran wrap to push down the paper, and also to push out the wrinkles and make sure that my varnish is evenly distributed. Once your paper is attached, you need to let it dry, and after it's thoroughly dry, we can remove the excess paper. The next step is to remove that excess paper. So taking a piece of sandpaper, rub in one direction until you get that paper cut right off of the side of the wood. You'll see it cuts off pretty easily. And just continue taking the excess paper off each one of your pennants until all of your pennants are all set and ready for the next step. Okay, so I'm probably this brush is gonna come apart. Oops. I'm gonna just take a little bit of my paint, and I know I'm not supposed to dip in my paint, but I've used this paint so much. And what I'm doing is similar to when you stencil. I'm offloading some of this paint because I just want to swoosh it across the top, and I'll show you what I mean. I want it to look primitive. I want it to not look perfect. See how that does not look perfect? You can see it's starting to ripple a little bit. That's exactly how I want it. Of course, I didn't want it down there. And again, I can see it laying right back down. Of course, if you're doing a project, you're not doing it live. You don't have to blow dry it. You can just kind of let it dry. I'm going to be stenciling the stars on with this little stencil that is part of a Christmas collection. And even though they're probably snowflakes, we are going to use them as stars. They're the perfect size for on top of our pennants, and we can get 2 rows in to really replicate stars. Again, because we are stenciling, we are going to get some paint on our brush, and then we are going to offload it. We only want a little bit of paint so that nothing gets underneath our stencil and we get a nice clear image. Our first row is a success. Time for our second row of stars. And I like that I can alternate the stars every other one on each row, and that really replicates the way the stars are on the flag. There's enough paint on the brush to actually do our second row of stars without having to put any more paint on them. We want to make sure that our stars are light colored, not super, super bright. And there you have it. The second row is perfect. Okay, the next thing I did is, if you're around me much, you know that I have to bring out my vintage texture stamps, because that's what does all of this and just makes it look a little bit more grungy. And I am using archival ink in Vintage Photo, which is the color I use the most of. And let me move this and get a little bit on my stamp pad. Now I haven't sealed this at all, the top. Usually you would put varnish over your decoupage paper. I haven't done that yet, so I'm going to do that. But now I'll have to wait till all this stuff dries. Okay, so I'm just gonna lay that down. Josie Tickle. And then we'll put a little bit more down here. And then what I like to do is I like to then take it and do it the other way so that it doesn't look so uniform. So I do one going one way and one going the other way. So then we'll do it this way. Ooh, look at all that crackle. Okay, so that's our crackle on there, and then I'm going to do my edges. So what I do is I take the ink pad and I just want to hit these edges, and you'll see what it does. It just totally frames it in. It pulls the design in. And this is archival ink, so once this dries and it's sealed, it's not going anywhere. With my hand. Okay, there's that. We'll see how that dries. And the next thing I have to do is I have to open up those little holes. So because I'm going to put my tiny little hole in there, and then I'm going to push it all the way through because I want to be able to get my thread through, and I want it to be nice and neat. Okay, so we'll let this one dry, and I actually think that continue the same with all of the pennants until you have as many as you need to make your banner. You can either do the twine going across the front or the back. Let's look at how it looks both ways and kind of decide. If you want it across the front, you would weave it through from the back to the front. Of course, it splits sometimes. Now, if you don't, that's really also part of a primitive look. If you don't want to see the twine, you would push it from the front to the back. And then it would look like this. And I don't know which one I like better. Anybody have a choice? Maybe every other one like that. One through the front, one through the back. Pull a little more through. I like to have about 2 inches in between. So there, up you guys, up. Let's get enough string to do a whole one. If you like this video, please like and subscribe for more DIY videos from Garden House Studio. And just like that, you're done. A primitive patriotic banner.